For this video, I'm going to take you on a virtual tour of the Johnson Geo Centre located in St. John's, Newfoundland. For today's adventure, it's kind of a unique experience. Once again, I'm on the island of Newfoundland, which is an island province of Canada that is located off the east coast of Nova Scotia. And right now I'm in the capital of Newfoundland, which is St. John's. It's the largest, most developed city on the island, and they really do have some amazing tourist attractions located here. And that's how I ended up here at the Johnson Geo Centre. And this is one of the more amazing science museums that I've ever been to. It's located on Signal Hill, which is one of the other major tourist attractions here in St. John's. The Geo Centre itself was built in the year 2002 and is named after philanthropist Paul Johnson. What makes this Geology Centre so special is the vast majority of the facility is built underground. Basically, after you buy your admission ticket and walk through the lobby, you walk through this corridor and enter a glass elevator, and that takes you down into the main facility. And it really is pretty clever to have like a science center dedicated to geology where the facility is actually the geology. You're down underground in a former location of a glacial formation, and it carved out all this amazing rock work. I've probably been to 100 science museums over the years, and I've never been to one where the building itself is actually structured after the discipline of science that it is focused on. There's just so many thoughtful touches here. They don't actually just have like an air conditioner or heater located on the ceiling, like how the majority of science museums handle it. Instead, their heating and cooling system is actually provided by 6 geothermal wells, which were drilled to a depth of 500 feet. So even the ventilation system is related to geology. There's all kinds of interesting exhibits here. For example, they have an entire wing dedicated to oil and gas exploration, which is how the economy of Newfoundland reinvented itself after the fisheries kind of collapsed in the 1980s. There's a huge section of this Geo Centre that's dedicated to continental drift and plate tectonics and earthquakes and volcanoes and glaciers. Compared to other science centers, this place is very interactive. I've never really seen any science museums that were so focused on geology, but what's nice about this place is there's a lot of examples you can actually touch, so you can feel the difference between like granite and sandstone, and the different compositions of like metamorphic and sedimentary rock. And I do find a little irony in being here because I almost flunked out of college working on my bachelor's degree because of my geology class. So God bless Dr. Kuyava right now for helping me get through that class and passing those crazy exams that he had. Another interesting aspect of this particular museum is it's affiliated with Memorial University. So there's actually research facilities and offices here that are actually run by a combination of students and professors. So there are active research projects, currently occurring. So this is a living, breathing science museum that is not static, but constantly evolving. So the one thing that strikes me about this particular facility is just how good the execution is. This reminds me of classic Epcot, like Epcot from the 80s, which, if you guys aren't familiar with Disney, they had a theme park that was kind of like a giant science and educational park, at least in the 80s, and they've kind of destroyed it now, but that's another matter. When you arrive on the ground floor of the Johnson Geo Centre, the first thing you're going to see is the Geo Theater directly in front of you, and that'll show you, I think, a 15-20 minute film about the different geological features of Newfoundland. The theater is just really cool. They've got these clever lightning and rain effects, and there's this huge waterfall in the front of the theater with projection. And I realize geology may not be an exciting topic for a lot of people, and especially if you're bringing your kids, but they definitely make the presentation fairly compelling because of all these interactive effects. On the top level where you walk in, there's a gift shop, as well as the Gardens of the Deep exhibit, which is focused on the coral that grows in the ocean. Outside the building, you can also explore the Geo Vista Park. I didn't because the weather was pretty bad. It was windy and rainy and really cold. But let's face it, I was here in the wintertime in Newfoundland. I was kind of lucky it wasn't a blizzard. The reason why Newfoundland is such an interesting place to put a geology center is some of the oldest rock in the world is located on the surface here. Most of the rock formations date back to 3.8 billion years ago, whereas most of the rock at the bottom of the ocean is only from like 150 million years ago because of how plate tectonics are constantly cycling the rock to the surface. This Geo Center is also in a great location. If you're trying to see multiple tourist attractions here in St. John's, this is a great way to do it because you can go to the Johnson Geo Centre and then go next door to Signal Hill as well as Cabot Tower, so you can hit 3 different tourist attractions all within the course of a couple hours without even driving. Admission price for this place runs about $12, and that's in Canadian dollars, so it's a little cheaper for Americans with the conversion. For my bottom line, I definitely highly recommend the Johnson Geo Centre. This is definitely one of the most innovative science centers I've ever been to, easily my favorite one. I've been to a lot of science centers, the Fort Lauderdale one comes to mind, that are so watered down for kids to understand like the science concepts that they've kind of alienated their adult patrons. It's a lot like being a 40-year-old guy trying to eat a Happy Meal. But I appreciate the Johnson Geo Centre because they didn't, dumb it down for kids. All the exhibits here are sophisticated. You don't have like cartoon characters explaining something in such layman's terms that adults are bored out of their mind. Well, those are all my thoughts for the Johnson Geo Centre. For the rest of this video, I'm just going to play a little music to show you what the place looks like. Thanks for joining me on this tour of the Johnson Geo Centre. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.